Brought to you by...
Hey friends, life is a complex series of circumstances that each of us inevitably has to navigate. And in my opinion, one of the most difficult avenues to traverse comes in the form of acceptance. Something that each of us must face head-on every day. Yet some circumstances are harder to come to terms with than others. And such is the story within Starfish. Immersed in a drained and faded palette of almost pastel tones and a beautiful grainy 70s aesthetic, within every moment it becomes clear that A.T. White's intent appears to have been to send us on a visual journey that envelops audiences into the true emotional pain of its characters. Assisted by an abrasive, all-enveloping score that is almost operatic at times, harsh strings and soft piano blend into a perfect mixtape with unique and relevant contemporary tracks from a variety of artists. The beauty of this journey is that it is not ours to take. We are just along for the ride. This journey belongs to Aubrey Parker, a young and moderately successful radio host, holding back her grief as she returns home for the funeral of her best friend. She becomes swept up in the emergence of a mysterious signal that triggers an event that sparks the end of the world. Aubrey becomes trapped in her dead friend's apartment with a single cassette tape labeled, "This mixtape will save the world." With reality fraying at the edges, Aubrey must follow the trail of breadcrumbs left by her friend to unlock the secrets of the signal. A secret that could end up saving or condemning everything. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like the plot of a graphic novel, or maybe a series of them. And I'll admit, it easily could have been. The base narrative and puzzle-solving structures play out in a similar fashion. However, while the mystery elements and adventure aspects are intriguing, they aren't the point of this narrative. This narrative sends Aubrey on a journey to reconcile with the best friend that she left behind in her quest to forget the mistakes of her past, inadvertently making a whole new series of them. The obvious problem being that she is too late to change anything. We tend to always think that there's more time to set things right, more time to change things, more time to heal the wounds that our mistakes cause. However, the sad truth is that sometimes there is no time left. Sometimes we have to come to terms with the fact that there is no healing those wounds. This is the journey that Aubrey must take, the journey of acceptance. This film uses music to guide Aubrey, her friend having left clues within each song that she's left for her, to guide her to each hidden piece of the signal that caused humanity's downfall. In essence, she left behind a trail so that Aubrey could continue on her path, the path to save the world. It was obvious to me from the start that this was a film that exists within that ancient fear of the unknown, the terror of what we are unable to completely comprehend. Aubrey spends the early half of this film holed up in her dead friend's apartment, inadvertently making it her safe haven from the monsters that dwell outside, creatures that emerge from the cataclysm, called forth by the mysterious signal. This apartment has become a prison of her own making, where she has trapped herself within a womb of her own grief. Within these walls, she's not yet ready to move forward from her loss, and possibly from her regret for not being there when her friend needed her most. Early on, she makes a choice to shut out those who are attempting to solve the global epidemic. She chooses to blind herself from the horrors outside these walls and face the reality. Not of what has befallen the world outside, but of the fact that she's too late to make up for leaving her friend behind. She's allowing her fear to hold her back from what she must do, and she always has. Aubrey is a woman who has made mistakes in her life, mistakes that she chooses to run from rather than face down and try to make up for. Therefore, she cannot bear to accept the things in which she cannot change. It was my understanding that once Aubrey reaches the point of desperation, when life has no other alternative than to force her hand and push her out onto her path, only then does she begin her intended journey, unable to postpone it any longer. Each stop she makes through the small town in which she is confined, venturing to places in which she and her friend would frequent together, acted as a stepping stone through the valley of her subconscious, allowing her to relive their greatest hits in a way, to remember each track on the mixtape of their friendship, and come to terms with a life without her. I believe the narrative is even smart enough to hammer home this point through its science fiction elements. It is theorized by other survivors that the signal in which Aubrey is trying to complete opens the doorway to somewhere else, to other places beyond our own. At one point, toward the latter half of the film, Aubrey confines herself within the walls of the now condemned library, and immerses herself in the signal, again and again, and without even knowing it, allowing herself to travel to these various other places. Now, the filmmakers do something really cool here, utilizing this to have her even briefly travel into our world, where she sees behind the curtain to filmmakers creating the film in which she exists. But they also do one better. They use this element of the story to allow Aubrey to travel back to the biggest mistake of her life, to witness the moment of her greatest act of betrayal, and to, in essence, have a chance to change it. Not that diversifying her actions will alter the course of history, but that having the chance to act out that change can deliver her some measure of acceptance, which to me just further solidified the main purpose of her journey. This film doesn't focus on the monsters. We don't get all that many glimpses of them, because that's not what the story's about. Much of each shot throughout this film is placed to envelop you within the scope of this vastly desolate yet confined world in which Aubrey resides. It is the world of her mind. Each set piece is like a memory that she is revisiting. This is the process of her grief, the grief that she was trying so desperately to avoid. We all have to face the fact that there are things in life that we cannot change. There are choices that each of us have made that define the shape and course of our lives, and some of those choices may have been mistakes. And one of my favorite aspects amidst the tragedy of this film is that it chooses to end as one. Aubrey is a flawed character, a girl who has made mistakes and holds regret for her choices. In her attempts to come to terms with her loss, the choice to cheat, her choice to run away and leave the best friend she ever had behind, in her journey to make up for those wrongs by piecing together the mystery of the signal per her best friend's last request, she inadvertently and knowingly commits the worst mistake of all, because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider supporting ETF on Patreon. You don't have to give a lot, every little bit helps this channel grow and helps us bring you new content to enjoy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you aren't already. Click that bell icon to be notified on all our future videos, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.